Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into a really cool story from Arkansas all about Arkansaurus fridayi, the official state dinosaur.
That's right. We've got some great source material here that tells the whole story.
Yeah, it's more than just the bones. It's like the biography of a dinosaur discovery, from finding the fossils right up to it becoming a state symbol.
Exactly. It's a journey. We're piecing together how this creature went from being buried underground to being, well, recognized by law.
Okay, so let's set the scene first. We're talking early Cretaceous period in Arkansas, a very different place back then.
Millions of years ago, absolutely. And Arkansaurus was wandering around.
So fast forward to August 1972. How does this dinosaur finally, reappear?
Well, it starts pretty dramatically, actually, with vultures. A landowner, Joe B. Friday, noticed them circling over his property in Lockesburg.
Vultures. Okay, that's evocative.
Right. He went to check it out and found these bones just exposed in a ditch. It turns out some gravel had been dug up there for work on Arkansas Highway 24.
Wow, so road construction just uncovered dinosaur bones. That's incredible. Did Friday know what he had found?
Not right away, no.
Yeah.
Apparently the bones were just put on display at his service station for a while. Just curiosities, really.
Just sitting there.
Yeah. Until Doisecker Jr., who was a geology professor at the University of Arkansas and knew the area, saw them. He realized they might be important.
Oh, okay, the academic connection.
Exactly. Thackeray got his colleague involved, Dr. James H. Quinn, a paleontologist at the university.
And Quinn's the one who figured it out, that this wasn't just some old cow bone.
That's the guy. Quinn identified them as definitely dinosaurian. He cleaned them up, prepared them properly.
And then took them to the big leagues, so to speak.
Pretty much. He presented the fossils at the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting that fall in 1972. Got other experts looking at them.
And what was the initial reaction?
The consensus leaned towards them being related to Ornithomimus, a type of ostrich-mimic dinosaur. Quinn also gave a talk about them locally at the Geological Society of America meeting in Little Rock in '73.
So from a ditch to a gas station display to scientific conferences, that's quite a ride in just a few months. Did they go back to the ditch to look for more?
They did. Quinn and Benjamin Clardy from the Arkansas Geological Commission went back to Friday's land in March 1973.
Makes sense. You'd hope there was more of the skeleton there.
Right. The site was basically a pit where they dug out material from the Trinity Group Formation. That's the right age, early Cretaceous. But despite searching...
Let me guess. Not much luck.
Very little. They only found one single extra toe bone.
Oh, really? Just one more piece? That's kind of disappointing after the initial find.
It is. The thinking was that the rest of the skeleton probably got scattered, maybe way back when it was buried, or maybe, during the recent digging for the road.
So what did they end up with in total? What parts of the dinosaur?
It boils down to, essentially, a nearly complete right foot. Specifically, 3 metatarsals. Those are the long bones in the middle of the foot.
Like in our foot, before the toes.
Exactly. And 4 phalanges, the toe bones themselves, plus 3 claws. So, yeah, just the foot.
But a very important foot, clearly. I heard they made copies.
They did. 4 casts were made. One for the Friday family, naturally, one for the University of Arkansas, one for the Arkansas Geological Commission, and one for the Arkansas Museum of Science and Natural History.
So people could see them.
Right. The university's cast is apparently still hanging in a classroom in Ozark Hall, and the museum even commissioned a big statue of Arkansaurus to go with their cast.
That's great for public display. What about the actual original bones, the ones Friday found?
Joe Friday generously donated them to the University of Arkansas Museum collections. They're currently housed safely over at the Arkansas Archaeological Survey in Fayetteville, preserved for research.
Good to know they're safe. Okay, so that's the discovery story. Let's switch gears a bit and talk science. What is an Arkansaurus fridayi? Can you break down the classification?
Sure. So, scientifically, you start broad. Domain Eukaryota, kingdom Animalia, basic life stuff. Then phylum Chordata animals with backbones.
Okay.
Then clade Dinosauria. Within that, it's a Saurischian dinosaur, the lizard hip group.
Which includes the big long necks and the meat eaters.
That's right. And Arkansaurus falls into the Theropoda clade, the bipedal, mostly meat-eating ones. And even more specifically, it belongs to the Ornithomimosauria clade.
Ornithomimosauria.
Yeah. So the full name, genus Arkansaurus, species fridayi. Binomial name, Arkansaurus fridayi.
Arkansaurus, Arkansas lizard, makes sense. And Friday after Joe Friday.
Exactly, honoring the discoverer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an extinct genus of Ornithomimosaurian theropod from the early Cretaceous Albian and Aptian stages.
You mentioned ornithomimosaurs or the ostrich dinosaurs. What does that mean for Arkansaurus? What did it look like?
Well, based on relatives, it was likely bipedal, probably pretty fast, maybe lightly built with long legs, long neck, small head, possibly feathered, though we don't have direct evidence for that from the foot.
Like a prehistoric ostrich running around Arkansas?
Sort of, yeah. That's the general picture. We know a near relative is another ornithomimosaur called Nedcolbertia. Comparing them helps place Arkansaurus.
And how big are we talking?
The estimates, based on that foot, suggest it was about 4.6 meters long. That's roughly 15 feet.
Okay.
And weight-wise, maybe around 380 kilograms or, a bit over 800 pounds. So medium-sized theropod.
15 feet. Bigger than an ostrich, then.
Oh, yeah, definitely larger.
Was there anything really distinctive about its foot, something that made it stand out?
Yes, actually. One of the most interesting things is the claws. The foot claws are quite strongly curved.
Curved. How is that different?
Well, most other ornithomimosaurs tend to have flatter, straighter claws. The thinking is those flatter claws were maybe better for traction, like cleats, for running fast on softer ground. But Arkansaurus has these really curved claws. It's quite noticeable in the holotype, that original foot specimen.
So what might the curved claws mean? Climbing? Grabbing prey?
It's speculative, of course, but yeah, that kind of curvature often suggests maybe better gripping ability.
Yeah.
Perhaps for different terrain, or maybe even for interacting with prey differently than its flatter clawed relatives. It does raise questions about a specific lifestyle.
Interesting. Were there other, maybe more subtle details in the foot bones?
Oh, definitely. The formal description pointed out a few key things. The pedaling galls, the claws were differentiated, meaning they weren't all exactly the same shape.
Okay.
The third metatarsal, that middle foot bone, was compressed side to side, making it sort of oval-shaped in cross-section near the ankle. And the claw on the end of the toe had a very weak spot where the muscle attaches the flexor tubercle and no little bony spurs.
Right, the technical details. It sounds like those little differences are crucial for figuring out exactly where it fits in the dinosaur family tree.
They really are. Those details help paleontologists compare it accurately to other finds.
So where does it fit? Is it an early model ornithomimosaur or a later one?
The current thinking places Arkansaurus fridayi as more basal compared to the ornithomimosaurs we find in Asia from around the same time period.
Basal, meaning?
Meaning it branched off the main ornithomimosaur evolutionary line earlier on. Think of it like an older cousin on the family tree, rather than a direct descendant of the later forms. Its features line up better with some older North American ornithomimosaurs, like that Nedcolbertia we mentioned.
So maybe representing an earlier wave of these dinosaurs in North America.
That seems plausible, yes. It suggests a more ancient lineage within the group was present here.
And wasn't there something else unusual found on the bones, like an injury?
Yes, really fascinating stuff. Examination showed evidence of a green stick fracture on one of the bones.
Like when a young branch breaks, but not all the way through.
Exactly, that kind of incomplete break. And apparently this was the first time a green stick fracture had ever been documented in a dinosaur fossil.
Wow, a first.
Yeah. And not only that, there were also some signs that might indicate the animal suffered from gout.
Gout. Like the painful joint thing in a dinosaur.
Potentially, yes. Changes in the bone structure that are consistent with gout, which is caused by uric acid buildup. So we get these little glimpses into the actual life and potential health problems of this individual dinosaur millions of years later.
That's incredible. It makes it feel much more real. Okay, let's talk about the journey to becoming a state symbol. It wasn't straightforward with the name, was it?
No, it got a little complicated. As we said, Dr. Quinn fully intended to name it Arkansaurus fridayi, but he passed away in 1977 before he could formally publish the description.
Ah, okay.
The name Arkansaurus actually popped up in a children's dinosaur book in 1983 by Helen Roney Sattler, but because it wasn't accompanied by a proper scientific description.
It didn't count scientifically.
Exactly. It was considered a nomen nudum, basically, a naked name, invalid according to the rules of scientific naming. The full name, Arkansaurus fridayi, wasn't validly published until 1998 by Angela K. Braden, who specifically cited Quinn's intended name.
Took a while to make it official in the books then, but then it became official in a different way, right? In the state legislature.
That's the next chapter. Fast forward to January 2017, State Representative Greg Liding introduced a bill to make Arkansaurus the official state dinosaur of Arkansas.
And wasn't there a student involved in getting that started?
Yes, which is a great part of the story. The whole idea was initially pushed by a high school student, Mason Cypress Ari. He was really passionate about it.
A high schooler. That's fantastic. What was his pitch? Why did Arkansas need a state dinosaur?
He and Representative Leading made the case to a House committee. Mason pointed out that, nearby states like Texas and Oklahoma had state dinosaurs.
Keeping up with the Joneses dinosaur style.
Sort of.
Yeah.
He also cleverly noted that Arkansas already had 24 state symbols, and since Arkansas was the 25th state.
Adding a 25th symbol, the dinosaur, made perfect sense.
Exactly. A nice, memorable argument.
And it worked.
It did. The governor signed the bill into law on February 17, 2017. Arkansaurus fridayi became the official state dinosaur of Arkansas.
And it's still the only one found there, right?
As of now, yes. It's the only dinosaur species scientifically described based on fossils discovered within Arkansas, which makes its designation even more special, I think.
Definitely. And then finally, the full scientific description got published.
Yes, kind of bringing the scientific story full circle. Rebecca Hunt Foster and, posthumously, James Quinn published the detailed scientific description in the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology in March 2018, a proper tribute to Quinn's original work.
That's great that it finally happened. So let's place Arkansaurus back in its world.
Yeah.
Early Cretaceous Arkansas. What was it like?
Well, the fossils come from the Trinity Group geological formation. That tells us it was deposited during the early Cretaceous period, the Albian and Aptian stages roughly 125 to 100 million years ago. Those rocks give us clues about the environment, likely coastal plains, rivers, maybe near the edge of an ancient sea that covered parts of the area back then.
And would Arkansaurus have been alone, or were there other big players around?
While Arkansaurus is the only dinosaur described from Arkansas fossils, we can look at sites of similar age elsewhere to get an idea, like the Mill Canyon Dinosaur Track site in Utah.
Okay, what did they find there?
It's from roughly the same time period, and they've found tracks not just of ornithomimosaurs like Arkansaurus, but also armored ankylosaurs, big duckbill hadrosaurs, giant long-necked sauropods, other kinds of theropods, plus tracks from crocodiles and birds.
Wow, a whole ecosystem recorded in footprints.
Pretty much. And the fauna, the types of animals found in the Trinity Group in general, not just in Arkansas, but also in Texas and Oklahoma, seem to match up well with that kind of ecosystem.
So it's reasonable to assume Arkansas had a similar cast of characters back then. Ankylosaurs, hadrosaurs, maybe some big predators.
Highly likely, yeah. Even though we haven't found their bones in Arkansas yet, finding Arkansaurus here fits perfectly into that broader picture of early Cretaceous life in North America.
It really paints a picture.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, the journey of Arkansaurus fridayi is pretty amazing. From vultures circling a ditch
To scientific debates, a student's passion project.
and finally becoming a symbol for the entire state. It really highlights how science and, community interest can come together.
Absolutely. It's a testament to careful observation, scientific dedication, and also just people caring about their local heritage, even prehistoric heritage. And it remains the only described Arkansas dinosaur.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If this one foot found by chance held such a story, what else might be hiding just beneath the surface in Arkansas, or anywhere, really? What other fragments of the past are waiting for their own, maybe accidental discovery that could completely change what we think we know?
That's the exciting part about paleontology. There's always more to find.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for taking us through this incredible story today.
My pleasure. It's a great one.